Willamette or a private university? Maybe, some of you, okay. These are the three that we're going to take a look at. So at PCC, or probably Mount Hood or Clackamas Community College, would all be very similar in that the tuition and fees are about $3,000. Your books are, seems like they're even a little bit higher than the university, $1,632, and estimated other expenses close to $3,000. But then you receive some grant aid, okay? So you get $1,400 in that, which leaves you with a grand total of $5,989.
Okay, that's
PCC.
Okay.
U of O, we've already, I'm just going to breeze through this one because we've already really broken this down in the last slide. So remember that total cost being the $24,000, but then you get the almost $10,000 in grants and scholarships, so forth, bringing you to the $14,202, right? And then Willamette, expensive, okay? $42,304 just for tuition. Estimated room and board is equivalent to like U of O, a little over $10,000. Your books, actually they're saying the books are a little less there. They're like, we'll keep our books lower at $966. Personal expenses about the same. You're going to spend about $2,000. So total cost, $55,650. Okay? But then there's a little bit of magic that happens. Not magic, but building it up. You get a scholarship from Willamette for $18,000. You get a grant for $3,600, a Willamette grant. You get a Pell Grant, federal Pell Grant, for about $2,600, and you get a federal SEOG grant. Even I need to look that up, but some sort of grant for $2,000. Grants mean money, you don't pay that, by the way. Brings it down to $29,364. Pretty nice, huh? Then, when you have the total of $52,000, you subtract 29. I guess this didn't have those two together. But that brings you to almost $21,000.
Okay, see?
It's huge, right?
7,000 more than U of O, even though the sticker price is way more.
Yeah.
It's not worth it, but yeah. $7,000 times 4 years is how much more for that degree. And remember, a degree is a degree is a degree. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
So unless you say to Willamette, I can go to U of O for 14, can you match that? And they say, okay, we'll match it, then go. Throw your duck stuff away, you don't really want it anyway.
So pretty significant difference, right? So this is where I can insert one of my stories. So the 3 colleges, 4 years. Part of the reason I made it 4 years, any of you taking Spanish or AP classes? Well, good, okay. When you go to college, the advice I didn't take from my Spanish teacher was, don't wait a year or 2 to take Spanish again because you'll forget things. She was right. Took Spanish all 4 years of high school, did not take it again until my junior year of college. I didn't forget everything, but I forgot the difficult stuff, like the verb tenses.
Yeah.
I had to ask my best friend's sister, who was a senior in high school, to tutor me in Spanish because I forgot that stuff. Man, she was a good tutor. I should email her and tell you, you know,
Oh,
you're a
look,
really
more
good
money
tutor.
though. Tutoring.
I don't think I paid her.
Oh.
But because of taking that class, because I didn't take the entry level course, didn't take 101. Because I remembered, you know, gato, perro, remembered that kind of stuff, right? Cat, dog.
Donde está el baño?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I took like a 200 or 300 level course. Because of that, I passed. It was hard. I passed. With I think I got like a B or something, and got the retroactive credits from it. I ended up getting, I think, 11 or 12 credits out of that one class. That was almost a semester of college that I didn't have to pay for. I paid for like the first 3 credits. So then the rest of the credits were free. I didn't have to pay for those. That is why I believe I graduated in 4 years, because of getting those extra credits for only paying for like 3 of them. Free money, guys.
You can do the same thing with your, well, we don't do AP here, we do IB.
Okay.
The same thing, they can take tests and then opt out of those classes and get, some of them start as a sophomore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yes, our Vasha, our marketing specialist, said she had like, 12 credits or something going in to college. That's awesome. Take advantage of those stuff. Remember, I was from a small town. We didn't have that stuff. So having a large school and those available to you, along with all that money, take advantage of that stuff. All right. I know we're doing pretty good on time, right?
Yeah.
We have a half hour. This is good. All right. I guess I already broke this down for you guys, right? I get ahead of myself. But again, the totals, but here's the difference. $1,400 PCC, $9,873 U of O, $27,286 Willamette. This is your sticker versus net difference.
Well, you want to do that net price calculator, people.
It's huge, yeah. Any questions? Still with me? Good. All right. Now we get into a little bit,
This
more
class,
finance.
investment.
Financy stuff. Calculating the return on investment, the ROI. So we have a conversation with someone one day, just say, well, tell me what the ROI is on that. It's really smart. Unless they know what you're talking about. But go up to like a 10-year-old and say, tell me the ROI investment on your lemonades. Okay, U of O, remember, net price, about 14.2. After 4 years, because remember, you've got to pay this every year. We were just talking 1 year tuition. Does that come as a surprise to anyone? You have to pay this every year. 4 years, not including the increase, so I'm certain by now this has gone up a little bit. $56,808. That's what you're paying to attend U of O for 4 years. If it takes you longer, you're going to pay more than that, right? So try and get those retro credits, your IB classes, things like that, so you can get done in 4 years, or even sooner. Remember, early on we talked about the career as a social worker. Starting salary, if you're lucky, I have many, many social worker friends. If you're lucky, $30,840. With a medium salary. What was medium again? Middle, average, right? And that slide that we looked at, we were referring to counting 25 or older. But middle salary range. So starting 30, medium at 54. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next slide. Wow, more math. Okay. Rule of thumb, your first year salary, what was it for a social worker?
30,000.
30,000 should be, what does this mean? This is a math equation. Should be, what's this mean? Greater than your debt. Did we make it?
Oh.
For U of O, you needed 56,800. Your starting salary is 30,840. Here's your shortfall, about 26. Is it less? Your debt in your first year salary? It is. You made it. Is that exciting? equation worked. But that's a shortfall. So how are you going to pay for that? Are you stashing away cash?
Yes.
Is it all under your mattress?
Well, better not be, 'cause they know that is no good.
No, don't keep it around. Is it at the bank? Are your parents contributing?
Yes.
Excellent. You want to make sure, if you haven't had a conversation with your parents as you're planning for school, to take into account any funds that they've set aside for guardians or grandparents or aunts and uncles or family friends. Start talking with them now, okay, to find out. Yeah, do you have a question?
Both of those things I get very such by your parents, which would be yes and no.
Excellent. Very good. And you're already talking with them about it.
Yeah, we're having a Roth IRA, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, very good. Okay. So, well, let me go back. Let me share another story. So you already know I got done with college in 4 years. Here's another thing I want to share with you. I probably should share this story right up front. This money stuff gets a little scary, right? It's okay, you can shake your head. This gets scary. This is some scary stuff.
They didn't even know what $100 is, let alone what 30,000 means.
So, when I went to school, just a little background information. My parents are high school dropouts. My mom did go back to get her GED years later. My sister did go to college. My sister's the first person in our very, very, very extended, large family, Midwestern family, that went to college. So I was able to kind of follow in her footsteps. She figured this stuff out. Here's the other thing. My parents didn't put aside any money for college for me. I have a degree, right? I made it. I don't have any student loan debt right now. It's paid off. It's gone. That's rare. There's not too many people that have been out of college over 10 years. I paid off my debt about 3 years ago. It's absolutely possible. Whether or not your parents are saving, whether or not, it's great if they are. It's great if you start thinking about these things. I did start working very young, so I saved up. But don't let this stuff scare you. Don't let it deter you. It is absolutely possible, okay? And, you know, my payback was I lived with my parents then. So,
After school too? Or just during school?
for about a year or two after
Okay.
school.
So that's
Yeah.
helped you pay your debt faster.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, they then asked me to help out a little bit more with the bills because I had a job. And for a while, I was making more than them because I had a college degree. And, you know, they were working entry-level, blue-collar sort of jobs. So, you know, something to keep in mind. I didn't emphasize that to them. I think they already knew I was making more money than them. But just something to understand. Okay. Anyway. Yes.
Did you have a job when you were in college?
I did. I worked in college, but I did not work a lot. I worked more in the summers, but I am a person who has to study very, very hard for school. So I worked 1 or 2 days on the weekends. That was it. Worked in retail. By the way, you get some good experience working in retail. Any of you who work in retail. So that was it. So I worked maybe 10 to 20 hours at most a week. But then I try and work more in the summers, worked at factories, did hard jobs that I knew I didn't want to do forever. So I did work, but not a lot. Not a lot. I would have liked to, but school was my job, and I made that priority. Yeah. And also made minimum
If
wage.
your parents aren't paying, you should probably have a part-time job.
Yeah, because it at least covered my gas for my car to get back and forth to school. It covered, you know, basic expenses, things like that. Remember, I lived with my parents All right, we got a couple more slides here, and this did lead into the next slide, so I didn't go too much off on a tangent here. So you may have to borrow. You may have to borrow. I had to borrow, okay? You need to leverage that. Understand that that debt is helping you to pursue your career, all right? This makes sense because you're going to utilize those earnings to pay back your student loan debt. Be mindful though, be aware, be cautious of how much debt you're taking on. Because you start paying it back as soon as you leave college. They give you a little bit of room, but you have to start paying it back. So, what are some ways that you can keep your debt low? And I've already kind of shared some of the things I did, and you guys maybe have some things your siblings or someone you know did, so please feel free to chime in. But here's where I said, living at home was huge. How much was it to live on campus at U of O? $10,000. So if you live on campus for 4 years, $40,000. You live at home or you get a roommate, I mean, you might be paying a couple $100 if you're at home. If you're a roommate, you're gonna pay a couple $1,000 probably for an apartment or something. What's a resident assistant? Do you guys know what that is at the college?
You're like a sophomore or something who serves as a assistant to the dorms, overlooks and oversees the students who are staying there.
Yeah. I'm not sure what every university is different, but my freshman year of college, our residential assistant was, I think, a junior. But yeah, they make sure they handle the hall and the students and kind of take care of things. But she got her tuition, I think tuition and room and board waived. Because
Good one, look that up, you guys, because kids don't even know about that in RA.
yeah.
So you can get the job pretty easily.
So it's essentially you're working, you're not getting paid to do that, but they're not charging you room and board. It's probably room and
It's
board.
not
I-
fun, it's not
yeah.
No, it's
Dealing
not
with
fun,
a lot
but
of-
it's still convenient. You're not commuting to a job, right? You're not getting hours that you can't handle because it's in the same place you're living. So that's a very convenient job to get, yeah.
And they typically have dorm, I don't know what they're called. There's usually, each dorm has an actual paid staff member director who manages all of that. At least that's what I remember from eons ago. All right, some of the other things, saving on books and supplies. You guys are very tech savvy. You know how to go online, do your research. You can find the textbooks online. You can borrow them from the library. I mean, if your English teacher has you reading a novel, the likelihood is you can find that at the library. My sister did that.
Yeah,
She
nice.
already checked out a book here. Yeah, here you go.
Well, I mean, even the entire library will have a bunch of stuff. So whatever city you're in has its own library, wherever your college is.
Right. You might have to read it quicker than what you were going to, but you don't have to pay for it. You're just borrowing it. And you can share books and supplies with your friends.
You and your friend are taking the same class, you can buy two.
Yeah.
Because you guys are gonna gag when you see the price of your books in college, it's a joke.
It's awful.
Or you wanna buy it back and you spend like $200 on it.
And they buy it back for 30.
Yep. I remember paying
Still 30.
like over $200 for a book that I probably barely ever used, but I had to have it. It was required. And when I went to sell it back, they're like, well, we're not going to take it back because they're coming out with a new edition.
That happens too. The best thing is to go early once you get your class schedule and get the used books. Because there's so many that they bought back that you can get it a quarter of the price used. But those go really fast because everybody knows about it.
Yeah. Do your research, find some other options when it comes to the books if possible. All right, work. We already talked about this. So during breaks, summer, winter, you can work part-time during school. Some employers will help with tuition, so maybe if some of you are deciding you're just going to go into the workforce and work for a little bit and then go back to school, that's fine. You might come across an employer who will help you with tuition. I imagine that places like Nike and Intel